Oh, hey, you back so soon, eh?
Yeah, I'm back. I tried the whole solo thing, doing a bit of
yeah. How'd it go?
Yeah, it's good to try something a bit different. Something a little bit more mainstream, But it's nice to revisit your roots once in a while.
Your roots. Yeah, nice to revisit your roots. So basically, what I'm hearing is you failed. No.
Yeah, I tried something different, and it went well, But you know what? I like it. I like it here, back in the marathon chair.
Yeah, you like it back here because you failed, and now you've come crawling back.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick.
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And the fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
Just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks.
In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Marathon Me with your hosts, Rhys
and Kane.
And we're hitting you with a double episode today, people. We're still doing our Kevin Smith View-Askewniverse marathon, and we're now getting to an interesting phase of the filmography. I would say that post Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, we're in a different era of Kevin Smith. And
completely. He's not the same man as he was in the mid to late 90s / 2001. This is a different man now.
Yeah, we literally went from closing the book of the View-Askew Bible that we were just discussing in the last film, and now we're doing that. Now Kevin's given us his first, what I would almost call like a normal movie. He's given us Jersey Girl. Ben Affleck in the lead, something wholesome, $35 million budget, so he's given a lot more, it's a lot safer, and Jay and Silent Bob do appear as a production logo.
Oh, that caught me off guard, I'll tell you what.
And that is all. So the first feature film without Jay and Silent Bob as characters. And that almost as a symbol, them being in the production logo of View-Askew, is that it feels so much like he's leaving them as a legacy, as the legacy of the production company, but that he's moving forward with his life. And we have watched this movie together once before, Kane. It's only in our last watch that we did all together that I've seen this. And
same here.
And I didn't really know what to expect at the time, and it frickin' baffled me going from Jay and Silent Bob to this.
Oh, it is such a strange trajectory, honestly. Like back then, not really knowing kind of like the context as to your kind of interpretation, like obviously the end, how like Jay and Silent Bob literally ends with God closing the book on the View-Askewniverse. Back then, it made no fucking sense. I'm like, why would you go from that to this? It makes sense. It's still a hilarious fucking just shift in tone, though. Yeah,
it really, really is. You can see that this is a filmmaker now that's like, I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna go in a different direction and really expand my horizons of what I can sort of do as a director, and also how seriously I want to be taken as a director. This is
I can make a real movie.
Yeah. This is the most serious Kevin Smith movie by far. And there's also one massive important personal detail is that around this time now, Kevin Smith knows what it's like to be a dad. And he's looking for something more. It almost feels a little bit existential in what he can be. And even though that it is like a redirect, is it a misstep? Let's chat about that after the trailer of Jersey Girl.
My fellow flax and spin doctors, salute.
Oliver Trinky was on his way to the top till everything changed.
Daddy really misses your mommy, kid. I miss it too, especially right now. Oh, shit.
You're on your own with the kid today.
What am I supposed to do with her?
Try acting like a father.
Hey, you're doing that wrong.
Someone please shut that girl up.
You better shut up!
That guy's toast.
Now his old life is over, and his new life is one he never expected.
Can you run Dirty Dancing?
I'll pick out something from the children's section.
All those movies suck.
Watch your language.
Get Dirty Dancing.
Miramax Films presents
What does yours look like?
a film written and directed by Kevin Smith.
What are your intentions with my daughter? Do you plan on marrying her?
I don't know.
So, Kane, was this a misstep, do you think?
I remember back watching this film like what? Oh god, it's almost 5 years ago since we've done this marathon. Fucking hell, Jesus, that is insane. God damn, I'm starting to get all existential now.
Oh my god, let's go make a mainstream film called Jersey Girl, and we'll call it a day.
Oh hell yeah, yeah, no, sounds good. But first, let's record this episode. But
okay,
you know, I remember enjoying it, like thinking it was all right back in the day, but. What the fuck? I kind of loved this, honestly. I kind of loved this.
That is
shocked
awesome.
by how much I loved this movie, honestly, man. Like, and I had vague ideas of what this movie was about, and like, you know, like the trajectory of the plot and everything. But like, it's like this shouldn't work. This kind of movie shouldn't work, especially by Kevin Smith. It shouldn't work for someone like in general, but shouldn't work for me. And yet it does. I was a sucker for this movie on this rewatch. I was a sucker for it, bro. Like I am bewildered by how much I love this.
Okay, that's a very happy surprise. Okay.
Yeah, I fucking know, man. Like I was blindsided
because I definitely I remember really enjoying it first time watching it as well when we did it for that marathon. But this time around, I really felt like this movie isn't bad, but also it's not great. And
right.
I really feel like it's just so middle of the road, and it has style, but it's not his style, and
yeah, right.
And it feels like this wholesome crowd pleaser that is so. It feels like there's so many complementary titles to this in this time of history. Like this to me feels so much like the Adam Sandler movie Spanglish that came out around the same time. And it feels like such a movie for the whole family that airs on TV on a Saturday night and is broken up by ad breaks that isn't challenging, and it's so accessible, and from the first like 15 minutes you know everywhere that this movie's going.
Oh yeah, oh completely.
Which makes it a really easy watch, and I quite enjoyed it as well. But I feel just lacks lacks real gravity because of how middle of the road it is to me. So I wasn't too into it, sadly, even though it has all the pieces that work. And overall is just such a serviceable film. And also, I would say unoriginal as well, even to the point that there's even a movie already called Jersey Girl from 1992. And
actual?
Yeah, and the movie poster looks about the same. I'm not even kidding, dude. It's a different concept. And it stars like a Dylan McDermott, who is like he's this actor that you would have seen, you will know his face in a heartbeat. He's in all of the American Horror Story seasons as well.
Right, yeah.
And it's sort
of not ringing a bell, but yeah, cool.
It's sort of this like 90s rom-com, and dude, look at the fucking movie poster when you have a chance. It is the same. And it also, this movie sort of reminded me a little bit of our movie Seasons in the way of like just the melodrama with arguments in the kitchen and generational trauma, taking itself so seriously. And
I mean, also Ben Affleck and Gertie, you know, we have to look after one another. I'm sure there was a play on that. There was a play on that line somewhere in the movie. Yeah,
it feels very much like. I think that what makes Seasons our movie so hard for me to watch at times is how much I felt like when we were making it, I'm like, we've got to make someone cry when watching this. And
yes, and we achieved that goal. But no, I do get what you mean. I do get what you mean.
But Jersey Girl definitely was, I think, made with the same intention of, I want to make someone cry because I'm a serious filmmaker.
Oh, completely. Well, it worked.
Did you
I
cry
cried watching this? I teared up watching this. I'm not lying. I shit you not, dog. I was tearing up watching this.
Oh,
and this
beautiful.
is the most. This is the most probably the most bizarre film from the mind of Kevin Smith that I've watched so far. Because again, like, I agree with all the points you're making. Like, this is like, it's very like, you know, crowd pleasing. You know everything that's gonna happen from the get go. It is so fucking cliche. Hell, it's got the fucking like the business dad kind of trope. It's got like the whole like, oh, the dad's like, you know, being more down to earth, but oh, he has another chance to get into the big leagues kind of thing. But then has to choose between like his dream career and, you know, the love he has for his daughter and his family and blah blah, you know, all that blah blah bullshit, which I fucking hate. I usually hate this. I usually hate this fucking kind of shit, and yet. You know, on one hand, it was I caught this on a good day, but at the same time, the earnestness just worked for me, and it's a film directed by Kevin Smith that like. It's at him at his most crowd pleasing, but then now and again through some of the dialogue, you get that Kevin Smith quirks kind of seeping through the cracks, but it's like he's almost trying to he's sprinkling it in a little bit to be like, hey, I'm still the same Kevin Smith, but like I'm just gonna sprinkle it in a little bit kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's so strange. None of this should work for me. I should hate all of this, and yet I just had such a lovely time with this. That's the most I can say is that I just had a lovely time with this. You want to know what fucking part I nearly cried during, by the way, when I got teary-eyed?
What part was it? Oh, Will Smith popping up.
I forgot that Will Smith popped up in this, honestly. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck. But no, it's when he surprises Gertie at the fucking, like, during the final act of the film, and Ben Affleck surprises her during the production of Sweeney Todd, and you see like how happy and excited she is to see her dad on stage with her. Like, that shit just got me so teary-eyed, and I'm like, what? I feel like you know what I feel like? I feel like Jerry in that one episode of Seinfeld where he starts crying. He's like, what is this? What is this salty discharge coming from my eyes? What the hell?
Oh my god, like, the Grinch's heart grew twice its size.
So it would seem, man. So it would seem. I mean, you know what? You know, it also helped that, like, during the scene of Ben Affleck, you know, running towards the school, they're playing a song by The Cure as well that, like, isn't Friday I'm in Love or Boys Don't Cry or Just Like Heaven. So I'm like, okay, you got a Cure deep cut in there. You're winning me over, Kevin. Keep it coming. Yeah, it's just, I just thought it was a really sweet time. Cliche as fuck, yes, but. I couldn't hate this. I couldn't hate this, honestly.
Yeah, he does do cliche. He did the cliches well. I would say. I really don't think that it's bad at all. And like the characters feel quite well written. I would totally agree with you. I got quite emotional during Jennifer Lopez's death scene.
Oh,
also totally forgetting that she dies in the first freaking 10 minutes of this.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm so sorry, but like, it's so funny that you mentioned that, and you know, just after me talking about like, you know, having nearly cried, having, you know, getting teary-eyed, because I just remember that contrast. Just I burst out laughing when she died. I burst out laughing.
You heartless bastard.
I don't know. That's why this is like, I quote, this is like the most bizarre Kevin Smith film I've watched so far, because the film had me opening up with like laughing at the fucking protagonist's wife dying, and then at the end getting all emotional with all the sappy fucking story beats. Like, what the fuck are you doing to me, Kevin?
Oh my god, you went on an emotional roller coaster during this.
I certainly, for lack of a better word, yes sir, I certainly did.
Man, I thought it was like almost like some of Kevin's best directing during this like Jennifer Lopez death scene, because I was legit like, even though that I'd seen this movie before, when she stops breathing, I was taken aback, and it feels very like stagnant in the room, and I'm like, oh, what's happening now?
Oh
no,
yeah, it is very well directed. I'm just an asshole.
It is also very much like another trope, though, that it happens, right? It's like,
oh yes,
it like the trailer you guys would have heard just a second ago, but I would not doubt that it's like Ollie has everything going for him: the job, the wife, the baby, but then one day things start going wrong. And
then just boom, cue the flat line.
Yeah. Boo. Oh my gosh, she's not breathing. Is everything okay? What's happening? Tell me my wife isn't dead. Like, and then he has to realize that being a dad is harder than it seems.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I totally get that. I wasn't 100% bored in it all. And he, speaking of music, he uses an Amy Mann song after the death for the death montage, actually. Going back on his freaking Magnolia hates Magnolia. Amy Mann's an essential part of that film. He brings Jason Biggs back, so must have gotten along on like the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back movie. Jason Biggs fucking he sort of disappears in this though.
Like disappears as in like his character's just like nowhere to be found for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nah, he was like it's such a funny contrast where it's like, you know, we had a lot to say about Jason Biggs in, you know, the American Pie films, and even like, you know, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, for the one scene is in, you know, he has a funny line, and then he's just kind of there in this film. He's not.
And this is amidst when Jason Biggs was being cast in freaking so much stuff. Like the 2000 to 2006, 2007, he was all over, like freaking he had a movie every couple of months, man. And then I think and he brought him in here because he's like, "Oh yeah, this kid is hot at the moment. We've got to get him in." Yeah. Again, feeling a bit like a crowd-pleasing venture.
You know, it's funny as well that he would get Jason Biggs in a film in 2004, since this would have come out the year after American Pie Wedding. So it's like, it's almost like Jason Biggs, similar to Kevin Smith, is like, you know what, I'm done with the sex comedies. I want to do something a bit more serious, and then is just there. He's there, and then he's not.
But then keeps on playing like the goofy young dude.
Yeah. Like, so, oh my god.
Doesn't divert too much. He does keep a little bit of his essence in here. The big KS with keeping Jason Lee and Matt Damon in for a cameo.
Oh my god, yeah, Jason Lee looking like a fucking. Like my first thought when I saw Jason Lee is as one of the like, I think he's like what, music journalist executives or whatever the fuck it was, is like, I'm like, oh bro, it's Ian Hawke, bro. It's Jason Lee if he had Ian Hawke's position, man.
Oh my god.
Even with the goofy facial hair as well.
You are so right. This is like the good timeline for Dave. This is the life that he wanted.
The life that he wanted, and yet instead he was cursed with 6 demonic chipmunks. And Den 3 when they forget about the chipettes.
You know, only a few years after this is when he goes back, you know, when he...
yeah.
Damn. Another weird commonality that Kevin Smith brings up in this movie that's been done before is another female character writing a paper on sex for, like, a school project.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at the very least, this one is of age, thank the fucking Lord.
This one, it's a college paper and not a high school one. That's good.
Yeah, it's also good because, you know, it also, isn't it funny? There's like, it's 2 girls doing like papers about sex, and they both get involved with Ben Affleck.
True. That's a very, very good point. So this character is played by Liv Tyler, the like love interest through this. I thought really good romance. I quite enjoyed the romance.
I was surprised by how won over I was by the romance, honestly. Like, it's nothing like, groundbreaking, but I was like, this is cute. I believe their chemistry, and I was like, this is nice. I like this.
But I think that maybe Kevin Smith did write her as being a bit too male fantasy-esque in the way of how she's, like, so immediately forthcoming to just, like, immediately, like, hey, let's have sex, let's bang. And he's like, no, I don't want to do this. And she's like, no strings attached, it's all fine. I think that
man, could you imagine if Kevin Smith had more of a acting resume under his belt? Maybe he would have casted himself in this. It would have been like a Tarantino in From Dusk Till Dawn getting to suck Selma Hayek's feet situation.
Oh god,
total male fantasy, fucking director self-insert in the worst way possible. Thank God we didn't get that. We just get a little bit of egregious self-insert writing.
Man, imagine if Kevin Smith fucking casted himself as the main character in this. Okay, something that I love about Ben Affleck being in this is that he refers to his car as the Batmobile in this movie. Ben Affleck, the future Batman. It would have, like, shocked everyone to their core that Ben Affleck eventually became Batman.
I read a couple letterbox reviews of Jersey Girl that were like, when he called his car the Batmobile, I screamed, and I'm like, okay, okay, fair enough, yeah, that's a good point.
I thought it was quite funny. I didn't scream, but I did go, I'm putting this in my notes.
I don't even think I put it in my notes. I didn't even. It's so I feel like a fucking idiot because I didn't register it until like maybe the day after I watched the movie. I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, wait, hang on. Did he call his car the Batmobile? The fuck? Why didn't I catch on to that initially?
Another essential part of Kevin Smith DNA that I feel like I want to mention too is that there is a Silent Bob moment in this film. But for the first time, Silent Bob, it doesn't do it. It's Will Smith. Will Smith is the Silent Bob.
Okay, that's what you meant. Okay.
As in the moment where the protagonist is confronted with a wise voice that essentially it pretty much summarizes the theming of the film and teaches our main character what to do in this situation.
Yeah, and instead of getting Silent Bob, let's get the hottest celebrity of the time. I know, let's get the guy from Shark Tale. Sounds like a great idea.
I really like this fish, man. I really like his voice. I think we got to get him in there. Also, I think it's actually a quite funny concept in this film, having... Ben Affleck plays a publicist, just like me, in this, and he... And I like how it's like pre-Men in Black, pre-Will Smith becoming a movie star, representing him, and then like Will Smith is sort of a big part of this plot because what ruins Ben Affleck's character is him in public sort of misrepresenting and like slandering his client Will Smith in front of a bunch of people, and then it ruins him, and then he comes around and then like 5 years pass, and now he's a complete freaking movie star.
Yeah,
that's quite funny, and yeah, Will Smith then is the voice of reason.
I just found it very interesting with the whole like that. Yeah, the central plot and like the conflict is like Will Smith has a great hand to play in the life of Ollie. I was thinking to myself during the film, I was like, I wonder, would this have happened the same way if his crash that took place in say circa whenever the hell the Chris Rock slap happens? Like that would, now that's the kind of movie I'd like to see. Like just he has a crash and just nothing changes. If anything, they're like, yeah, that Will Smith guy, he had a bloody freak out. Fuck him.
It is funny that in this movie, like, following the life of the publicist of Will Smith, where probably a film following the publicist of Will Smith, but in like the 2020s, would be a very interesting film.
It'd be fascinating. Oh my god.
Also, that Kevin Smith just made 2 movies with Chris Rock in them and then changed to go to Will Smith.
Oh shit, son. Oh fuck. Maybe that's why Chris Rock was taking jabs at Will Smith's wife before the slap. Maybe he had a bone to pick. He had a bone to pick with all of them, circa 2004. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So after the whole climax happens with the play going on and the Sweeney Todd stuff happening and Kane is sobbing on the floor, I got quite emotional at probably the last scene where it seems like everything is sort of all coming together in the end, because I thought it was quite wholesome and so earnest, right? How this sort of family unit forms with
oh my god, see,
with the love interest and the grandpa.
That got me also emotional as well.
And they're dancing in this pub.
Yeah,
that's quite freaking cute.
It was so nice. Like I was like, I was literally saying to myself, like, what the fuck's wrong with me, bro? What the hell? Why do I love this so much?
and then the second
this family unit,
the second round of tears, and it did cement that Kevin Smith is the king of sentimentalism. He really, really does love to just like he wants to finalize all of his movies with a big tug of the heartstrings.
Yeah.
But overall, I can't help but feel that even though that it's quite charming and it really works, it just doesn't stand out. And I think that culture has sort of shown that it hasn't beaten the test of time, this film.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those films that's been kind of lost, like lost to, somewhat obscurity because, like, I mean, hell, I didn't even know this film existed until, 2020 when we did, when we watched these films together, and yeah, it's definitely a film that's been, kind of lost in a sense.
So, some would argue that it's its biggest sort of relevance in culture is that it was around the time of the Ben Affleck Jennifer Lopez romance.
Yes, true.
And and what's interesting is that around this time, fucking Gigli came out, and that has more cultural relevance. That has more cultural relevance because of how bad it was. But this, it almost suffers culturally from being quite okay, and then because of that is just sort of middle of the road.
Before we close the chapter on this little film Jersey Girl, is that as the final scene's coming to a close, something popped up in this film that I reckon it gave the film a lot more weight. And I vocalized to myself, I'm like, oh, I see why he made a film like this about this dynamic. Is because he dedicated this to his father. He dedicated this to his father who passed away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so what I'm getting at is that this is Kevin Smith's Magnolia. I see.
You're right. And that's why. And that's why he uses the Amy Mann song.
Okay. All right. The first part of that line, that's true. I was like, oh, okay, it all makes complete sense. The Magnolia thing, I only just thought of just now. I'm like, oh yeah, let's just bring that up. But yeah, no, it makes sense as to why the film is the way that it is because he made this as a dedication to his father, and he had he had just became a father not too long before the making of this, so the sentimentality and almost schmaltziness of this movie, it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of love, I reckon.
Yeah, I totally get it. It does feel like it's coming from his heart. And he would have been thinking about fatherhood in both directions, right, at this point.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But there's no denying that this is an outlier in the Kevin Smith timeline.
Yes,
and
as much as I love this film, yes, it is.
And what an ironic turn. After diverting his course and showing the world that he has more in him than what we've seen before, this is a box office failure. It only makes 25 million out of the 35 million that it cost to make, and this is sort of his opportunity to prove that he's more than Clerks, and he doesn't just go back on his original course, but he returns to his deepest of roots and goes back to the Quickstop to make Clerks 2. And here's a bit of the trailer of
Never before.
32 and you're flipping burgers? Is anyone else from our graduating class back there?
Had so many. Done so little.
Sometimes I wish I did a little more with my life instead of hanging out in front of places. Maybe be an astronaut. And be the first to find a new alien life form. And nail it.
What?
And gone so far.
Those taste like flies, don't they?
Ew.
No subject is too sacred.
Those Hobbit movies were boring as hell.
Say what you will about Jesus, but leave the rings out of this.
No insult is too personal.
You can't get a chick, you mook. You're too weird and sad.
I turn down chicks left and right.
Your chicks are your left and right.
No dream is too big.
We are gonna peep something we've been talking about since we saw Bachelor Party when we were 12.
I'm disgusted and repulsed, and I can't look away.
Clerks II.
Well, it's certainly been a while, but, you know, after several projects and, you know, like you said, a bit of a box office failure, you know, Kevin Smith, yes, he decides to return to the good old Quickstop, back with our main two boys, the boys that started it all, Randall and Dante, and it seems like nothing's really changed for the two boys. They're still at the Quickstop. I think it's like supposed to take place 10 years after Clerks 1, right?
Yeah, about 10 years.
Yeah, and they're still there, and oh man, I'll tell you what, seeing that Quickstop burst up in flames, it's not enough to break the heart. You know, I said I was crying at Jersey Girl, but I was sobbing when that happened, brother. I'll tell you what. But yes, we're back with the boys in Clerks 2, and this is a film that's similar to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. This is probably my other most watched Kevin Smith film, and also one that I'd say probably my second Kevin Smith movie that I had consumed as a teenager. I don't even really know why I chose Clerks 2 above Clerks 1 to watch first. I honestly, I have no way of justifying as to why I watched this before the first one when I was a kid. I have no way of justifying it.
I know why. It's because you're a fucking psychopath. You're a psychopath, Nate.
You know what? You got me.
And as a teenager, I can see how the cover of Clerks 2 is more alluring than the original. You know, there's it's the main cast in front of a backdrop of flames versus you know like a couple of people in black and white.
Yeah.
So I can see that allure, but this is very much an approach of an older Dante and Randall, a more matured and weathered pair of friends.
Yes, emphasis on the fucking weathered.
And is way more of sort of this like midlife crisis scenario. It's such a strong opening, with it opening up in black and white and then opening the frickin' shutters to colored flames, almost like a cleanse of going into this new phase, and almost welcoming back the view-askewness. But there's such irony in that he goes right away back to the roots immediately. But I think that the flames are like, no, but it is different. It is different this time. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I can still embody I can do something new in the same sort of environment, in the same parking lot. And
right.
And he went through from a $35 million budget on Jersey Girl to a $5 million budget with Clerks 2.
Wow.
So much smaller scale as well. And fuck, man, there really, really is so much to love about Clerks 2. You are right. Like, to me, it just feels so genuine. And after Jersey Girl, which feels like he's making a bit of a movie, in my opinion, for other people, Clerks 2 was back for making a movie for him.
Oh, completely. Like, but in a way, like, this is... It's like, with like, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, he was making a movie, you know, for him in, like, you know, closing a you know, like, in one way, like, in your interpretation, like, closing a chapter on, like, the View-Askewniverse, but also, like, you know, making a film that, like, you know, he can have all of his friends, crammed into and, you know, shout out all these, like, inside jokes and, like, just, like, throwing whatever the wall and see what sticks. This is a movie made for him in a lot more of an emotional and contemplative state, I feel, as to, like, kind of where he is in his career. And you know, you see that a lot with, like, you know, how the story kind of goes along, and, you know, how the characters of Dante and Randall are portrayed in this entry. And also, like, just in case I didn't make it clear enough, this is pretty good. This is a good movie. I quite like this. I will say though, I don't think it is nowhere near as funny as I remember it. Like, humor wise, like, I still think it's funny, but humor wise, some of it didn't do it for me as much. And again, that can be like a burnout problem, because this movie I watched so many fucking times when I was younger. I think even, like, you and I watched this together, like, when we were first, like, hanging out, from what I remember, like, back in 2017, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think that I've watched this outside of a context that has you connected to it in some way. Either watching it with you or watching it in the purpose to talk to you about it.
Damn. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. But however, I will say this is that while humor-wise, a lot of it is either, like, you know, okay, or, like, you know, it just doesn't work for me just because of, you know, like, having exposed myself to it so many times. The emotional beats are pretty fucking great, honestly. Emotionally, this is fucking great.
Yeah, man. It's a bit sad that making this movie as a whole, I feel like for Kevin Smith would be a bit of an embarrassing endeavor, right? Mm-hmm. Like, as in, to have this grand $35 million statement of, I'm onto a new chapter, and then right away go back and make Clerks II, like his biggest critical success, the thing that put him on the map, to be like, you almost can't go safer in a way.
Yeah, and also,
conceptually.
Technically, this is also, like, this is not even technically, this is his first sequel as well. It's like, after you're a big flop, it's like, okay, time to go back to not only, like, the universe that I created, but let alone making a fucking sequel. Like, damn. Like, yeah, I guess it would be kind of embarrassing in a way.
Yeah, and in the commentary, so Jen, his wife, is in on the commentary, and they have a little bit of a discussion about how Jen sort of didn't want him to make this movie at the start, and she had the same sentiment of what you could imagine, right? She was like, dude, like, you've now sort of, you've etched out this new course for yourself, a new direction that you're going in, and now after taking one step in that direction, you're going back? Like, come on, man. And then, you know, she read the script and then eventually became supportive of, like, okay, I can see that you really want to make this, and you have, like, a solid idea behind it. And this really, really does it. Like, to go on from your emotional, like, a strength point before, this is not a sequel guilty of just doing the same that the original did. This has such a distinct purpose, right? Like, as in, these characters are in a new phase of their life, and the characterization, it really helps that there's only a few characters to really follow in this, that holy shit, they are well painted. Like, the arcs that Dante and Randall go through in this, fan-frickin-tastic.
Oh, and, yeah, so good.
Like, the strongest thing about the film, I think, and what reels me in, like, Dante being stuck in this middle-aged wave of his life and finding himself as someone that he isn't. Doesn't that sound a bit interesting? You know, living a life and doing things, creating things that maybe don't feel like you. Isn't that a bit interesting, Kevin Smith, after making Jersey Girl?
Fascinating. Very fascinating indeed.
Sort of becoming almost, like, shaping yourself into an image of what the world wants you to be instead of what is true to you. Interesting.
Very subtle, Mr. Smith. Very subtle indeed.
But holy shit, even just as like on a relatability factor, this is we're not at this point in our lives yet, but I could so see how I could find myself in this place. Right.
Oh,
still,
God, yeah.
Still sort of being in this job, like something that you're not passionate about, you're not loving, in like working in movies, where the whole thing is set in movies essentially, and it gives such like a sickly sweet McDonald's vibe, this whole setting, hating your life in this space, and Dante being confronted a little bit with his mortality of like, this is my life? Do I want this to be my life? And almost getting there out of riding this wave and being comfortable. And this is 100% like, I could see myself, if I stayed at like JB Hi-Fi, sort of one day being like, what the fuck am I still doing here? What am I like?
Yeah, nah, that's, yeah.
Which is not saying, like, putting anyone down that's like still in that position. I just know that I would have been like, this is me riding a wave of comfort for myself. I don't belong here.
I completely hear you, man. Like, that is a similar, like, thoughts as to, like, me with, like, the job that I've been working as a kitchen hand for almost, like, 3 years. That's why, like, I've set, like, this proper goal for me, which I have been guilty of multiple times, being like, I'm going to quit at this period, I'm going to quit at this period, and then, like, just staying because, I'm comfortable, I'm comfortably numb here, like, it's fine, it's comfortable, but I don't like it, but, like, what else can you do? But, like, it's a mold that you either break and risk escaping the comfortability, or you're doomed to remain comfortable but just unhappy, kind of thing.
And almost falling into a bit of a shadow. I think that I think that the worst thing to happen there when you fall into that is just sort of losing yourself. And I think that's exactly what is happening to Dante. He's about to marry someone and move to this new life that he knows isn't him. He knows this person isn't for him, and how like greatly fitting is this, that like Dante's character is a man that like doesn't take responsibility for his own life, and then he has this fiance that makes all of his decisions for him. And this is played by Jennifer, who she takes me out of it again. I think that she sticks out like a sore thumb amongst all these quite good actors, and she has a much bigger part to play in this, and she really stands out as not a good actress, I think, here.
Yeah, nah, she's not too great. I didn't think she was in the film too much to bother me that egregiously, but I do completely get what you mean. Like, she does, like, even as a kid, like, watching this movie, I'm like, why does she seem off to me? And then, knowing the context of, like, whose wife this is, and, like, blah blah blah, not being a proper actress kind of thing, is like, okay, yeah, it makes sense, kind of thing. It makes sense.
This whole, I really like how it still does sort of going from black and white to sickly sweet color. I think also is very much going in on this idea that Clerks II is a bit of an reinvention exploration. Yeah. And we get this from Jay and Silent Bob coming back, but it is the new and improved Jay and Silent Bob.
And improved, mate. Let's fucking go.
Even they have reinvented themselves. And one inconsistency is in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Dante and Randall get restraining orders on them, and that's why they leave the Quickstop. What? They're back now? They're fine? There's no restraining order to be spoken of anymore.
I mean, maybe the canon is that because Randall was a bit of a fool, maybe he's just got a restraining order for Jay and Silent Bob against the Quickstop and not just them individually? Can you get a restraining order from a property?
I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know,
not
to be
IRL
honest.
Look, maybe not IRL, but maybe in the View-Askewniverse, maybe there's some weird laws in that fictional universe.
I could imagine Randall being like, "Oh, I didn't file that. I forgot to send the papers. Forgot to send them."
That's a good point as well.
Speaking of Randall, he is so good in this.
Oh my fucking god, yeah. No, they get I love that in because in Clerks I love him because he's like, you know, he's the guy that's like not taking shit too seriously, and you know, like the more of the funny guy kind of thing, and you know, giving almost being like Dante's rock kind of thing to like give him the advice that he needs to hear, but maybe he doesn't want to hear kind of thing. But like in this, like he feels so much more three-dimensional. He feels like a real person this time around. Like he still has like the Randall charm that he had in the first movie, but like you see a lot more vulnerability this time around. And fuck, man, especially some of the conversations that him and Dante have like near the end of the film is like I see myself in like some of the more emotional beats that Randall has, and I'm like, wow, this is quite harrowing to see. Oh my god, like fuck me.
A weathered Randall and Dante is the best version of Randall and Dante, I think. I always viewed this movie as just sort of like a Dante arc, but I really noticed that Randall has a lot more going on, actually.
Oh, completely, yeah.
And especially, and it starts from like when the most Earl adjacent Jason Lee, mustached and all, comes into movies and confronts Randall with like the success that is sort of potential for him, and this really successful man from high school, almost like he comes into the movies just to pretty much bully him,
just to gloat,
and then like what he does is that they then go out to go-karting together as like a distraction from it all, and it brings him to like relive this sort of simpler time, like life's. Like what I think Clerks 2 really, really brilliantly puts is just that life gets so much more complicated as you get older. Like, and there's a lot more stakes, and it's a lot scarier, right? It's every fucking person says this all the time, but you know, like it's a simpler time when you're younger, and this really, really explores that. And I feel like in quite a human and not pretentious way, in a very grounded way, it explores, wow, isn't it good to sort of be a kid? Isn't it good to not have responsibilities?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, with the whole, almost like in certain aspects of the film, like the yearning for, you know, times past and nostalgia and childhood, or, you know, like the years gone kind of thing. It doesn't feel heavy-handed really at all. It feels, like you said, very natural, like a very realistic way of looking at those times in your life that are like so far removed from where you are now, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. I think a scene that I think embodies this is going to sound so fucking random, but the Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings fight, like iconic scene, right? This embodies this like new age versus old age sort of conflict, and that culture is changing, and then how difficult it sort of is to live in a world when you think that your thumb's on the pulse when it comes to culture and being like a consumer of it, and then there's this new generation that is coming up of culture. So on top of being a fucking awesome scene, it also sort of stands for like the theming of this film.
No, I get you. I will say that like, great scene. I for some reason though, the ending crescendo of that scene with the Lord of the Rings nerd vomiting just always rubbed me the wrong way. It's just like, did you really need that? But also, I'm definitely biased because I'm more of a Lord of the Rings head than a Star Wars head, so I'm definitely biased.
That is very, very dumb. You are correct. And you know who they wanted to get for the actor that is like the Lord of the Rings nerd?
I'm gonna guess. Is it like Elijah Wood or someone from Lord of the Rings?
It is not. But
no. Okay.
Think Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh, were they gonna get David Cross?
Yes, they wanted to get David Cross.
God. Oh, that would have been so fucking sick, bro.
But no, did not get him for this. They got a bunch of other comedians. They got Wanda Sykes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I always fucking forget that Wanda Sykes has a brief cameo in this movie. My God. Wow, it's crazy.
You know what's difficult? The scene that she's in, we almost can't talk about it.
Yeah,
we can't talk about the word that Randall is trying to reclaim back.
Oh my God! Yeah, nah, it's
It's a bit of a beautiful moment though in political correctness, where like the joke is how politically incorrect Randall is here, and it's like it's quite fucking funny how like the shock value and the shock factor of him repeating all these words that he should not be saying is, but then it's like now also you wouldn't do this, and it's difficult to fully get behind the humor of it. It's such a sweet spot that it can still point fun at how ridiculous how ridiculous ignorance can be.
There's definitely more to that scene than just like say like you could have easily written it like the scene like it could have easily been like it could have easily in the hands of like a weaker writer it could have been like, you know, just shock value, just like a Family Guy shock value fucking Ted scene or whatever, you know what I mean? But like, you know, there's a bit more to it. There's a bit more of like pointing fun, like making fun of like the ignorance and the absurdity of it all kind of thing.
The complete and utter ignorance is perfection. Perfection. The dynamic between Elias and Randall, fantastic chemistry.
Bro, oh my God, I forgot how funny Elias is in this movie. Oh my fucking goodness. Dude, I love their dynamic in this so much.
And again, like a new age versus old age, and I think that the sort of reason why these people are sort of bullying him, right, is that I think that like they're a little bit jealous. This guy has his whole life ahead of them.
Yeah,
ahead of him.
He has his youth still. He has so much promise and potential.
But speaking of chemistry, Becky and Dante have so much chemistry, I think.
Oh, dude, it is like so fucking it is like such a believable fucking thing that they got going on, like romance wise. Like, it's so fucking it's so sweet to watch, honestly. Just watch it like kind of unfold and like watch both of their gradual like walls and guards like be let down as the film's going on, and like as their interactions go on, where they know deep down that like they're the perfect match for each other, but like because of, you know, what they think life requires of them is that they have to ignore their real their proper wants, their proper desires, which is like to be together kind of thing. And it is very powerful to see like just that like that shit unravel as it goes on in the film, you know.
It's the riskier option, right? It's the risky road, but not the one of comfort, but rarely is the road of comfort the correct path to go down. And Rosario Dawson is so charming. Oh my God. You like, it's hard not to fall in love with her in this.
Oh, completely, man. Oh my days. Like, fuck.
And
hang on, because I was gonna say, like, bro, like, just like I forgot how like just how charming of an actress she is, bro. Like, oh my goodness.
She really, really is, man. And you know that it was really, really close that Rosario Dawson wasn't even going to be in this for a very long time.
Wow. Who do you know? I'm assuming you have the scoop on who was the original Becky was going to be.
There were so many people, but Kevin originally wanted Jennifer, his wife, to be Becky. And it was Harvey Weinstein that was like, no, like no one knows who Jennifer is besides you and your friends. And we need, and like, you know, it's not really a star movie, So we need a star of some sort. And,
yeah.
And they went through a lot. It was going to be Sarah Silverman at one point.
Okay.
Yeah, there was going to be... I actually forgot a lot of the rest. But, Sarah Silverman, there's one. Sarah Silverman was so close to taking it, but apparently Cole told Kevin, if you were offering me the part of Randall, I'll take it in a second. But to be the love interest... my career isn't really going in that direction.
Right, fair.
But there were a lot of leads that weren't really vibing with the role. But Rosario Dawson, I couldn't picture Becky as anyone else.
Oh hell no, me neither. Like, bro, getting Jennifer to be Becky when you were already complaining about her performance as Dante's fiance, like, oh, could you imagine the potential film that we could have gotten there?
Ooh, thank God. I'm so glad, man.
Oh yeah, nah, like I'm just imagining like some bizarro fucking universe where it's Rosario Dawson playing the fiance and then Jennifer playing Becky, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Because like the person that he's supposed to be in love with, there's no chemistry. The person that he's supposed to get married with, but like isn't in love with her, there's where the chemistry is. It's like that bizarre universe. That's some Darkest Timeline type shit.
Yeah, it is. It's okay. It's okay. And also it makes so much sense knowing this context too, because when you look at all the movie posters, right, Rosario Dawson is right in the middle.
Oh, front and fucking center, yeah.
And it sort of makes sense, right? Is, even though the $5 million is nowhere near $35 million, they're still putting millions of dollars behind something with not a lot of star power. So that was a little bit of their middle grounding. And it ultimately works so well for the movie.
Yeah, no, completely. But like, can we thank, because can we thank someone else for the Rosario Dawson casting? I don't want to thank that guy. I don't want to thank fucking Harvey.
True. Very, very true. Okay, let's thank the Jackson 5 instead for providing us with the song ABC. So there's this fucking Kevin Smith's first flash mob scene in a film where randomly, instead of playing hockey on the roof, Dante and Becky are dancing and having like a little dancing practice together on the roof as Jay and Silent Bob are playing ABC on their new boombox that they have, and this scene is pure fucking serotonin, man.
Oh my god!
How much fun is it?
It's so good. Even just with like just the bursts of color that just comes in, it's like, oh my god! I just feel like you said, it boosts serotonin, but like I just like just a sense of warmth that just comes in. It's like, oh my days! It's like it's almost like it's like an escape from like the cold, harsh reality and midlife crisis almost of what is going on between all these characters in this film. It's a nice little escape kind of thing.
You're so right, man. It's a moment of electricity in such like a bit of a sterile place.
Completely.
And it has to be mentioned, all the music in this is fucking great. Just before getting on to record the podcast, I was listening to this soundtrack to get me in the mood, and it got me in the freaking mood.
It's a fucking great soundtrack, dude. Like, oh my god, so many of these songs, like I've been having on repeat since fucking 2014 when I first watched this movie. Like, bro, like the biggest two examples I can think of is Nothing But Flowers by Talking Heads, which like I didn't know who the fuck Talking Heads were when I was 14, but boy howdy did I blast that song a lot whenever I'd be like riding my bike or like on my way to school. I love playing this song. And then, bro, my favorite fucking needle drop in this movie, man. This is I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this movie is the movie that introduced me to one of my favorite bands, the Smashing Pumpkins, because they have 1979. Holy fucking shit. Oh my god. I was like...
That's such a melancholic, like, the climax of this film.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good, man. It's so good. Just like, this whole soundtrack's just amazing.
For me, a favourite has to be Goodbye Horses, which I know is famous for Silence of the Lambs, but is unironically probably one of my favourite songs ever. It's such a beautiful piece of music. It really, really is. And we get a Buffalo Bill, Jason Mewes reenactment from it. But also there's so much more that it gives too. Oh, it is fan-frickin-tastic.
It's pretty great.
And also like a pretty broad like soundtrack too. It is definitely like Kevin Smith just sharing his playlist and like songs that he's into at the moment. But it's always sort of been like that. Like
completely.
Like Mallrats is just sort of a fucking mood board of Kevin Smith's favorite music in the mid-90s.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And then like it's a very broad soundtrack, but each song serves a purpose. It doesn't feel like it feels like that. Yeah, this is a collection of Kevin Smith's favorite songs of the time, but they still serve a purpose to whatever scene they're being used for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Some of his best use of music, without a doubt. And it's a View Askew movie, so there has to be some more essential cameos that we have to mention. Like, did you pick Scott Mosier in this one yet?
No. Oh, I don't know, actually. I feel like I did in the film, but it's not ringing a bell right now.
He is the dude that he's eating at movies, and his daughter sees Dante in the bathroom and says, "Don't look at his wee-wee." And
yeah.
And then Walt Flanagan appears again to buy cigarettes from the Quickstop in the final scene.
Okay. Very nice.
And as a lovely callback to his first cameo, also buying cigarettes in the Quickstop.
Oh,
beautiful.
Shit, yeah, true. Fucking hell, fuck. Damn, not bad. It's all full circle, baby.
Yeah. We may not have orangutans in this named Suzanne, but we have another animal friend in this film that always catches me off guard.
Yeah, we got our dear friend Kinky Kelly.
Yeah, and her sexy stud.
I was so caught up in like the emotional, beats of this film that when the mention of the donkey show happened, like when Randall's ordering booking the donkey show, I'm like, oh, wait, hang on, I think I remember what's gonna happen, and then we get it, and oh my god, it's even worse than I remember. It's even more disgusting than I fucking remember. Oh my god.
In a movie that is very genuine and has lovely heartfelt moments in it, it's also a movie that has a donkey show in it with the... I love the idea that most of them sort of think it's a good idea when it's like a woman like blowing this donkey, but then... oh no, it's a dude that is blowing the donkey. Not
just blowing the donkey, Rhys.
Yeah, and then eventually goes full on, takes it all the way to home base with this donkey, and that is what makes it weird for them.
Oh my god, yeah, I know. Well, all of them except for Elias, but he's
we've all got to find our sexual discovery somehow. And Elias does it this way. This scene, what is fantastic about this scene, though, is that, it does take the essence of the original Clerks in having this sort of final act where just everything sort of goes to shit. Moment of total chaos where it's like, my life is falling apart in front of me. And you feel that because in this scene, there's so much happening. Like, as in, Dante's confronted with the freaking disgust of a donkey show. And then his wife sees that he's now making out with the love of his life who is pregnant, and then police come, and then a fire truck comes, and then they get arrested, and it's all happening, and then he gets cake in his face. Like, it's so much stuff happening at once, and you feel this chaos so deeply.
Oh my god, this is like the modern update of the chaos and disorder and this is the worst day ever kind of meme from the first Clerks movie with all these big fears of a person in their 20s, like, oh my god, my my girlfriend left me and my other girlfriend had sex with someone else, a corpse, and I'm being fined and I'm having a fight with my best friend. This is like, yeah, my marriage is falling apart and like, oh, I'm in love with someone else and blah, 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 and I'm getting arrested for displaying interspecies erotica. Like, you know, like the normal pipeline.
We've all been there, Dante. Well, maybe not, but we all feel like we've been there. And I think that I love when it's like, even though that this has not happened to us, thank fuck, but we've felt in moments like this is happening to us, right? You get me? Like,
it's just the pile up of just chaos and upon chaos.
Yeah. And Dante Randall and Jane Silent Bob and also the sexy stud all go to jail. And that leads to one of the best fucking emotional scenes of the View-Askew universe so far, right?
Oh my god, yes, oh my god.
Randall opening his heart up, telling Dante that he's still the same guy that he always was, not taking charge of his life, letting... Like, it's the same conversation that they had in Clerks, but it means something different now because they're older and because they are in a different phase of their life. Is that, of course, you want to empower your friend as someone in your early 20s that isn't taking charge of their life, but when you're now in your early 30s and you're in your midlife, it's so much more fucking important because you're seeing then your best friend waste their life and be someone else that they're not supposed to be. They're starting to cook, but they're cooking in the wrong oven. And fucking Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall, is like, this is his magnum opus, right? Like, this is his moment to shine. And
dude, oh my god, yeah.
It would be hard to freaking top this performance in your career.
When he starts getting all choked up when talking to Dante about how, like, he's expressing his real feelings about, like, how broken up he is about Dante leaving him to, get married up in Florida. And, like, just watching that, I'm getting choked up over here watching this shit. I'm like, fuck, this is... Okay, I'd come to this movie to laugh when I was a kid, and now, like... Oh my god, I'm nearly crying watching this shit. Fuck me. This is hitting too hard. I love it, but oh my god, it's hitting like a fucking sledgehammer.
Yeah, and I have to say it, that I think what also makes this so impactful for me, right, is that I've never watched this film outside of a connection with you, man.
Yeah.
Like, and what a confronting moment of, like, friendship vulnerability for... that I've always shared with you in a little way. Like, as in, like when watching the scene, literally shared with you. And it's really emotionally intense, right? How fucking integral those foundational friendships are in your life.
Oh my god, yes. Nah. Oh, fucking hell. Dude, when he... Also, just, like, shout out another line, is, like, when Randall says to, like, if I knew you were gonna walk out on me, I wouldn't have bothered. Like, oh my... That broke my fucking heart listening to that shit. Oh my god, that fucking broke my heart.
Yeah,
holy
man.
Shit.
Oh... And suggesting... Like, this came out of total... First time watching this film... I had no idea that Randall was going to suggest what he suggests in this, that he's like, what we should do is buy the Quickstop. We make it our own. That was the golden years of our life working there. Yeah. Why not fucking do and be that then? Why lie to ourselves and try and be something else? Let's just live the fucking life that we were meant to live. And during the commentary, they were... Kevin asks everyone, what would you be doing if you weren't in show business? And when it comes around to him, he says that probably this is exactly what he would be doing. Wow. Is that he would have bought the Quickstop probably. Is that because, at the time when he was making Clerks, he was working in the actual Quickstop, and And it really was the golden time of his life in this weird way that this is a man that, now has a fucking massive film career and is known around the world and, doesn't have regrets in his life, but also views this period of time as his golden era, working in a supermarket with his best friend. And,
oh my God.
And honestly thinks that, if things didn't pan out and he had to just, bear the weight of the credit card debt of Clerks and it never took off, then he would still be living a very satisfying life, owning that Quickstop now and living another true version of himself.
Damn, fucking hell.
Yeah, man. Fuck, how amazing is that final shot of when they do buy the Quickstop. They clean it up together.
Don't
as
even get
friends.
me started on the final minute of this movie, man. Don't even get me fucking started, bro. Fucking hell.
Oh, and yeah, sharing that vulnerability that they sort of need each other.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to be ashamed of with that. And
sorry, you go first?
No, you go.
Oh, I was going to say that, with that final montage, with them, finally, being able to reopening the Quickstop, you've got Becky, who's visibly pregnant now, you've got, this kind of little makeshift family units that's been created and brought together, you even have, the little scene of Jay and Silent Bob, coming back to the wall where they first made their debut, and, greeting the wall like an old friend and preparing to lean back on it again, and then that final shot of Dante and Randall just chilling behind the counter and posing like how they did in the original film. All of that, I didn't feel this way while watching Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but I felt it this way, is that this felt like the proper bookend to the View-Askewniverse, and in a way it properly was the bookend to the View-Askewniverse.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're totally fucking right. It's almost came out of necessity that we combined this episode with Jersey Girl, and Clerks II. But I'm so glad that we did, because I think that they thematically go into each other so well that in the credits of this, Kevin Smith always puts a massive thank you section where he puts people's names and then gives them a little message. This has the longest thank yous by far. Legitimately, I had to pause so many times to read all of these thank you messages. Which shows so much, right, that this is he's making this for a very sentimental purpose for himself. And he thanks Jersey Girl. And he thanks Jersey Girl for taking it so hard on the arse and never complaining. And this, with the freaking fade into black and white as Goodbye Horses is playing, it cements this as my favorite meta-narrative so far. That it's Dante realizes that in this journey for success, he forgets who he is in the first place. Chooses the girl who loves him then, the real him then, and returns back to his roots, instead of posing as someone that he's not. Making a film like Jersey Girl that feels not like you. And as the final shot has the two back to where they started, but in the place they belong, Kevin is returning back to the place that he belongs, making silly movies about a couple of guys working in a convenience store. It's about... He returns back to those roots because it almost grounds him to find himself again and figure out who the real Kevin Smith is. And what a beautiful fucking way to bookend this View-Askewniverse.
Bloody fucking brilliant, honestly. I remember being a bit thrown off when having to combine Jersey Girl and Clerks II, thinking, what the fuck is the through line with this? But upon our discussion throughout this episode, it's it not only doesn't make complete sense, but it's a really beautiful way to it's almost obviously it had to be this way kind of thing. Obviously out of necessity for us, but also it makes complete sense, honestly. Especially with these two films complement each other so greatly in terms of of where Kevin was at this point in his life and his career, and it's fucking beautiful.
Kevin Smith definitely is guilty of the self-insert, but it's not hard to see why and also how effective it is that Dante is Kevin, Emma, who is like Jennifer, is Jersey Girl, and then our love interest Becky is Clerks. And
shit.
He learns to accept that it's what's right in front of him that is his true love and will give him the life that he needs to sort of live, and is gonna etch in stone the legacy that he's gonna lead. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at MarathonMeOfficial, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like a podcast without the ask.